Chapter 11 The Planet Dragon's Blood 4040 AD A choir of mechanical angels. The vaguely eerie echo of wind chimes and the thatched roof Asian time capsule phased in and out of existence several times before materializing. Upon its final manifestation, there was a brief but thunderous impact, as if some titan in the distance had set down a mountain. "You are such a science nerd," Saber mused. She had her hands on her hips, staring up at the gray, crackling hologram. It showed the conditions outside. The foliage was normal in structure: trees, grass, shrubbery. The only thing that separated this planet from Earth was the fact that the color was off. Scarlet trees, red foliage, crimson shrubbery. Bro excitedly filled her in on the details of why.
"Dragon's blood is about 100 times the size of Earth."
"Not my Earth, bro."
"And the sun? It isn't a normal star. It's almost 100 times bigger, and it's a blue giant,"
the rhinoceros exclaimed. Saber, a veteran time agent, found all of this as about as interesting as listening to inventory on board Purge.
"So the light
is refracted from the blue giant, their sun, into the atmosphere in a peculiar way," Saber nodded. Professor Green was instantly beside her, his beady turquoise eyes only inches from her face. The seasoned time agent jumped. "Damn it!" Bro laughed. The eerie, emerald-clad CHRONARCH didn't seem to notice that he'd spooked Saber.
"You know how rude you seem, young lady. I must insist you let the young man finish his dissertation."
Saber raised one eyebrow.
"Oh, yes,"
Professor Green continued.
"The condition that Bro travels with me is, upon point of fact, a condition of his continuing education."
"Well then, why don't you make things sound as complicated as possible?" The time agent urged them out the door. "Shall we?" Professor Green remarked as he exited Purge.
"Stealing my lines now?"
Saber ignored him as she and the exuberant Bro departed.
"Purple sun,"
the young Jadoon exclaimed.
"Turquoise sky, red forest."
"Because of the blue sun, the sky of the dragon's blood is green, yes, and as you've noticed, all the forestry and foliage is red due to the change in the respective chlorophyll."
The time machine had set down next to a sign, and it was carved out of red wood. Not simply the breed of the tree, as all wood here was crimson or wine in color. The sign read, "Dragon's Teeth. Established 4030. Population 303. The flabbergasted rhinoform was all smiles. Professor Green pointed to a nearby stream, noting that the water was blue. Neon blue, not clear or blue tinted. Of course, the young Jadoon was enthralled.
"Back working for the Shadow Proclamation,"
he noted.
"We were always on deep space vessels, going around to different planets. All I ever saw was distant stars and never-ending black. I've never seen anything like this."
Saber seemed vaguely touched by his youthfulness, infected by it, as the 8-foot-tall, 600-pound rhinoceros covered its mouth and intently pointed with the other. He'd spotted a bunny rabbit. Nothing unusual about that, but the Jadoon had never seen a pink bunny rabbit with 6 legs before. Professor Green explained.
"Ah, 6 legs?"
The rhinoceros nodded at the insectoid-like rabbit as it ran off.
"This planet has some unique features,"
the emerald-clad Time Lord said.
"I may as well warn you ahead of time that about the multiple appendage differences here."
"Wait, what?"
Bro turned his gigantic head. Saber nodded. Then she grinned at Professor Green. Time for another science lesson, Grandpa? Professor Green folded his hands on top of his jade ! cane.
Young lady, I am not amused. I must inform him of the fundamentals of the cosmos, including the precarious nature of the gravity of dragon's blood in regard to multiple appendages.
Yeah, Saber interrupted. Boring time.
Very well,
Professor Green relented.
I shall let you explore and learn for yourself. You'll notice the physical differences.
Indeed, even as Bro gazed around the crimson forest, he noted there was a murder of crows staring down at him. Pink crows. Pink crows with 4 wings. There were also plenty of pink squirrels in this forest, also with the requisite 6 legs. As the group strolled on closer to the dragon's teeth proper, they saw in a distant field a family of deer. Pink, 6-legged deer, unafraid of the strangers. The wildlife stared at them, and as Bro stared back with bewilderment, he noticed their antlers were much more closely resembled branches from a tree than regular deer antlers.
This is a totally weird-ass planet.
The rhinoceros grinned.
I dig it, man.
Professor Green smiled.
Precisely why Purge brought us here, I presume. Now, let us go meet some of the locals, shall we?
Saber looked at him. That's not your line anymore. Professor Green sighed and looked down at his jade umbrella cane. Then he gazed upward at the town of the Dragon's Teeth with his pulsing emerald eyes.
Yes, very well,
he nodded.
Onward.